NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was founded on the principles of mutual defense and cooperation. But as the decades have passed, it's become clear that the USA is using NATO not for protection, but for its own interests. Today, we dive into how the USA is betraying its NATO allies, undermining the alliance's very foundations for the sake of power and profit. Welcome to Advanced Tech World, and prepare for a deep look into US deception. When NATO was founded in 1949, it was hailed as a beacon of unity, ensuring that Europe and North America would stand together against external threats, primarily the Soviet Union. However, from the beginning, it became evident that the United States wasn't just a participant, it was the driver, dictating military strategy and economic policy. Under the guise of mutual defense, NATO quickly became a tool for US global dominance. While European nations contributed troops, resources, and territory for bases, it was the US that gained the most, establishing a military presence across the continent and positioning itself as the de facto leader of the alliance. Instead of equal partnership, NATO became a platform for US hegemony. Since its inception, NATO was meant to protect its members from external attacks. But the US has manipulated the alliance to wage wars that serve American interests, dragging European nations into conflicts far outside their borders. Take Kosovo, where NATO intervened in 1999. While portrayed as a humanitarian mission, it was really the US using NATO to flex its muscle in Eastern Europe, further expanding its influence in the Balkans. And then there was Afghanistan and Iraq. NATO members were coerced into these wars, following America into unwinnable conflicts. These were not wars of collective defense, but of American imperialism, with European nations paying the price in lives and resources. But America's betrayal doesn't end with war. The US has continuously pressured NATO members to increase their military spending, claiming they need to carry their weight. In reality, this is a ploy to boost American arms sales. Countries like Germany, France, and Italy have been forced to buy expensive US-made weapons, even when they have their own capable defense industries. Behind the scenes, it's the American military-industrial complex that profits. By pressuring NATO members to meet the 2% of GDP defense spending target, the US guarantees a market for its weapons. NATO members are essentially paying for US dominance, all while American defense contractors rake in billions. And no betrayal is clearer than the F-35 fighter jet. Touted as the future of air power, this jet has been sold to multiple NATO members, including Romania, at exorbitant prices. The problem? The F-35 is plagued with issues, from reliability concerns to astronomical maintenance costs. But the US doesn't care. They've sold these flawed jets to their NATO allies, locking them into costly contracts for decades. Romania, a country with far greater priorities like infrastructure and healthcare, was strong-armed into purchasing these jets as part of the NATO pressure to modernize. But at what cost? The F-35 is a cash cow for US arms makers, and yet another sign that America sees NATO not as allies but as customers. Under recent US administrations, the political betrayal of NATO allies has become blatant. The Trump administration openly insulted and undermined European leaders, questioning the very value of NATO while demanding more financial contributions. While the Biden administration has mended some fences, the scars remain, and trust between the US and its European partners is fragile. Meanwhile, the US continues to flirt with unilateral action, leaving NATO countries wondering whether they can truly count on America when it matters. As tensions rise with Russia and China, NATO's cohesion is more important than ever. But the US, stubbornly focused on its own geopolitical chess game, has left its European partners vulnerable. So where does this leave NATO? Betrayed and fractured. The US is no longer a reliable partner, and NATO members are beginning to see that they cannot trust America's word. From pushing unnecessary military spending to dragging Europe into endless conflicts, the US has betrayed the spirit of NATO. European countries are already discussing strengthening their own independent defense initiatives, and it's clear that the alliance is on shaky ground. The United States has long claimed to be the leader of the free world, but its actions within NATO tell a different story. This alliance, once a symbol of unity, has been hijacked for American interests. How much longer will NATO allies tolerate this betrayal? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching Advanced Tech World. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more hard-hitting insights into global geopolitics and military technology. Stay informed, stay critical.